Hello everybody, I am your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and today I am explaining Sonic lore. Specifically Classic Sonic. We will have another video for Modern Sonic with a different co-host who has no idea what's going on. Today, however, I get to explain all of this to the lovely...
Hello, hello. My name is Argent. I am a smallish dinosaur from Colorado, and I have no idea anything about Sonic lore. I was under the impression for many years it was like Mario lore, but you just kind of go along and have new characters introduced over time. But the way in which this is being framed to me is giving me real Kingdom Hearts vibes, and I'm excited and terrified. Let's go.
So feel free to look any of these box arts up when I'm bringing them up. But I have framed this all like one long-ass story. So let's jump in with our first title in this timeline, Dynamite Ducks.
What?
Our story begins with a tale of two ducks named Bin and Pin. They live in the chaotic work full of wizards and talking animals. Things seem very normal as the old magic hadn't been truly unlocked until one day Bin and Pin were relaxing in the field with their human girlfriend Lucy. She is then kidnapped by the evil wizard Arcana. After journeying around the world in search for Arcana and Lucy, the two encountered mythical crazy things from ravenous animals being driven by chaos magic and even living fire. The two eventually find Arcana and beat him to a pulp using their newfound magic explosives, rescuing Lucy and setting the stage for our next set of being. Someday soon, we will have to catch back up with the two Dynamite Ducks, but this is where our story ends. Now here's some anecdotes. Bin and Pin are ducks, right?
Yep.
They have a human girlfriend named Lucy, and this is long before Sonic 06.
Okay.
The Amiga version had a code that was very 18 plus, where everything was nude. You can look it up on your own time. And replaces some of the story bits. It's canonical that Bin and Pin are brothers, and that Lucy is their girlfriend. Both of them. And it just gets fucked up because the character that matters and the reason this is all set up is for being the Dynamite, which is canonically Lucy's kid. The Genesis version / Master System version changed this into they are pets. I ran with the arcade version because I'm a monster.
This is reading like... You ever go and find yourself a really bad Sonic OC with all sorts of questionable content?
I know.
And it just somehow isn't OC?
Yeah, this is...
It's just the OG. We ain't talking about OC, just the OG.
Yeah, Dynamite Ducks is in fact 100%.
This is so Japan it hurts.
This is not canon to the modern Sonic games, but only the classic Sonic games, which is why it's here.
Huh. Well, this is fascinating.
Dynamite Ducks is a beat-em-up. It has KFC in the background of one of its stages, and it is probably the worst beat-em-up I have ever played.
Beautiful. This is awful and beautiful in so many amazing ways. I'm sitting here staring in awe at the Wikipedia article.
For those that want to check it out, I did this for episode 100, for the 100th subscriber special for the channel, so go check it. All the links for these will be surrounded in the video, so... Your brain's not fried yet, is it?
Not yet, but we're getting places. So how my brain is going to categorize this is like the Greek pre-myth to the Sonic franchise?
Oh, 100%. You don't...
So this is like the crazy shit Zeus was pulling, but in Sonic format? Their Jason and the Argonauts happen to be Dynamite Ducks?
Yes.
I will embrace this reality, even though I really don't want to.
That's okay. It will force itself upon you. So, our next title is Flicky. Meanwhile, in the special stage realm, a place beyond space and time, between dimensions and worlds, is also the home of a special bird known as flickies. These creatures can travel freely using their special rings to enter any world they wish. However, being constantly chased by the very hungry cat creatures known as tiger and the extra poisonous frogs they call Iggy, the flickies search worlds to find place shrouded in magic, looking for a new home so it can raise the next generation of dimensional protectors they call chirps. Thankfully, due to the endless use of magic by the wizard Arcana, they seem to have found a new home in a world we shall call Sonic's World. As the Flickies make their home in this new world, an adventure is just kicking off with the human scientist Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik. He has
We have an origin story.
He has stumbled across 3 new creatures with seemingly infinite power: Sonic the Hedgehog, Ray the Flying Squirrel, and Mighty the Armadillo. And that was Flicky. It's an arcade game where you jump from platform to platform, trying to get all the chirps, avoiding everything else, and then reaching the door. It's really fun, really addictive. I've only ever beaten it twice in my life, and I'm okay with that.
One of those ones I might have to find.
This
is also an arcade cabinet, right?
It's an arcade game, a Master System title, and a Genesis game. And it's on pretty much every Genesis collection out there.
I might be able to find some Genesis stuff. That'll be okay.
Yeah, it's probably the best version of the game, honestly. It's good. It's good. Good. Worth a checkout. I figured that one wasn't going to break you too much.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Of course, you'd think, now that I've mentioned Dr. Eggman, that, of course, the next game is Sonic 1, right?
Nope, we're not there yet, probably.
No, this is Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog for arcades. Before we get to it, though, where do you rank Flicky?
Like, what are we ranking on? Weirdness, basic, like, plot, premise, structure. I've never played it, so there's going to be a level of that.
In terms of... This is all just the story.
In terms of, like, I'm going to go in weirdness by story. It's going to have to be, okay, in terms of our tier list, are we going, like, A through F, or...
Well, you ranked 1 as, like, pre-Greek myth, so we're comparing...
Oh, okay. This is plausible origin story, but nobody's gone evil yet.
That's fair.
This is the origin story phase. The prequel, if you will.
The prequel.
Prequel.
Anyways, starting up on Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, our 3 heroes try to get away from Robotnik. However, it's no use. The Mad Doctor got them, but not for long. The 3 began to break away at the walls in an attempt to get away from the island they now found themselves trapped on. However, this wasn't the only dastardly plan the Doctor had in store. In case of escape, the island was rigged with an elaborate set of booby traps, which could be remotely controlled by Eggman. These 3 rushed across the island, through the frozen wastelands, down through the man-made river, and over the island's high mountains, eventually coming face to face with Eggman. He had no intentions of seeing them, and set his base to self-destruct. It means Eggman's plans for every occasion. It seems Eggman plans for every occasion. As the 3 rush off the island and go their separate ways, Sonic, the ever-speedy nomad, rushes off to South Island to meet some friends. But upon arrival, it seems Sonic has been locked up longer than he thought, and Eggman had actually retreated to his new island base, the Scrap Brain Zone. Sonic's friends, the Flickies, have been captured and used as a power source for Eggman's new robots known as Badniks. I got nothing for this one. It uses a trackball. It is 3 players. There was only 1 arcade machine released in the States. It's hard as shit to find. It's never been ported anywhere. But it's okay. It's kind of short. I beat it like 4 times, I think, on stream.
Gotcha. So this is basically Dr. Eggman's origin story in terms of being a villain as opposed to just being there.
Yeah.
This is how we get where he's powering his robots, why he's powering his robots, and why the concepts of robots are evil.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. The only reason this game is beforehand is because this is the first chance we see of Mighty and Ray. And in our next game, Sonic 1, it mentions that they have met before and fought before, which only makes sense because Eggman doesn't have any badniks in that game, so of course he'd come up with a way to power him once he has a chance to set up a bunch of booby tracks and study Sonic's abilities.
Makes an unfortunate amount of sense, but that makes more... Okay, so we're beginning to get cohesion.
We're beginning to gain cohesion, but this cohesion is weird because Mighty and Ray actually have backstories that nobody can remember and nobody wrote down. They were
Wait, what?
They were told to a couple people in development. They were quickly forgotten, and they were written down at one time, but they can't find the papers for it. So as far as Mighty, Ray, and Sonic meeting each other, no idea.
Okay. So we knew a backstory written and then like
So
written down.
So during
Can't believe
development,
I had to say that sentence.
can you repeat it? Because you for some reason you keep like muffling, getting really like muffled.
Okay, let me check something real quick. Okay, that should be better. Testing 1 2 testing. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, so does the story for this end up getting written and then written down? Because I can't believe I have to utter that sentence at any point in time.
So the game was made. The storyboard was written for the game's opening screen. Before that, there was a backstory written for these characters in case they were to use them. It was written down somewhere, and then it was probably thrown out or used on a different dev doc. So they just it probably just got recycled somewhere. And the creator of Ray and Mighty had the backstories memorized for a number of years, forgot them because he was never asked about it after so long, and just it's gone. Oops.
So what are we writing on? Where's...
I wrote that based on the opening screen and what happens in the game.
Okay, so we're writing as we go with the lost lore. This is becoming the error a lot of like folklore runs into, and or any other story that nobody actually has the OG source for.
So
It's worse than most fan fiction. Let's go.
We've went from Greek origin story to modern tale of like, it's a prequel, to this is a tale told and passed down. We kind of forgot the middle, but we remember the end.
It's pirate tale where they drunkenly forgot. Drunkenly forgotten pirate tale. That is our tier here.
Yes. So starting off with our next game is Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis. Sonic rushed over the Green Hills, freeing his friends until coming upon Eggman's first new attachment for his incredible flying machine, the Eggmobile. He slammed the wrecking ball around, hoping to kill the young hedgehog. However, the tactic was too slow, and Sonic managed to not only beat the Doctor, but chase him out of Green Hill. The Flickies, ever grateful, showed Sonic the special stage zone, their original home, and the storage place of the even more powerful Chaos Emeralds. Maybe if Sonic can find them all, he might be able to reverse the damage Eggman's done to the environment. Sonic continued through South Island, visiting each special stage, from Marble Zone to Springyard, even the Deadly Labyrinth, and the newly constructed Starlight. Despite the mechanical beauty of Starlight Zone, Sonic knew it was time to get rid of Eggman once and for all. He rushed towards the Scrap Brain Zone and ran straight for Eggman, only to be sent into a trap down in the labyrinth in the mountain. But at this rate, it wasn't enough. Sonic zipped straight back up to the final battle. The Crusher slammed as Eggman laughed with glee, forgetting his one design flaw in the machine. The Sonic took advantage of the left side of the room, which was just out of reach of the Crusher, and Eggman ran off as the machine exploded. Sonic ran back to the Green Hill and with the help of the Flickies, managed to return the island to its former glory. But in the distance, Eggman was watching and noticed the Chaos Emerald's power. The emeralds being whisked away as if it were pure chaotic magic, the evil Doctor sought to find the now scattered emeralds, and after finding at least one, it was clear Sonic's chase was far from over.
This one makes sense. This is Sonic 1. This is where everything I thought was gonna happen was gonna just continue to happen. None of this, like, so horny duck crap.
I know, right? It's weird. And you could say Dynamite Ducks is so fucked up it shouldn't be included, but being the Dynamite shows up and is referenced multiple times, I can't not include it. So we start out with weird horny duck crap, and then all of a sudden slammed with Flicky right into something that makes a little bit of sense, but is just absolutely fucking bizarre, into something where it's like, yeah, that's the game. That's exactly what happened in the game.
Yeah, that's the game. This makes sense. I'm ranking this as Sonic 1 makes sense. Can we please come back to the just making sense again? I know it won't, but this is the bar that I would like to meet.
So
as the bar, Sonic 1.
So your assumption right now is probably that it jumps straight to Sonic 2, right?
I'm nervous.
What if I told you it's Sonic 1 again, but this time on the Master System?
Okay.
The blue blur rushed back up over the bridge zone, through the vast jungle, and even high into the air of Eggman's new sky base. Sonic had managed to get the emeralds yet again and put a stop to Eggman for the second time, and even managed to make the emeralds fly far, far away from the reaches of Robotnik's clutches. But that brings us to another young creature, Miles Tails Prower. This fox was a misfit on his own island and was quite the outcast, but one day, Wendy Witchcart came to his island and transformed everything into a giant amusement park. Residents who didn't know any better would step into this trap and become transformed into magical robots.
Neat.
Makes sense, right? You know, it's Sonic 1 again.
Yeah,
except
again.
a couple different zones. And
You go to a few different places. It's like having the Quantum Side version of Sonic 1.
You know, and it makes sense only for you to go different ways, because Eggman is seeing how you got through the first set. So, of course, you're going to want to go a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid the Labyrinth Zone, or so you hope, except, you know, you still go to Labyrinth Zone, so,
I mean, an attempt was made, and I can respect that.
I mean, you can only do so much with like, a Game Gear, so...
I think this is the Schrodinger's cat version of Sonic 1. Everything's slightly different, but still the same. But they exist simultaneously.
Yeah, and like, pretty much at the same time. I was debating putting this in the middle of Sonic 1, so, like, he continues through each zone. But the only reason I didn't do that was because, well, you get the emeralds in slightly different ways, and it's a different amount at the end of each title, so it only makes sense for them to scatter back on the same island.
Yeah.
So, beginning our next title, Tails Sky Patrol. Perhaps the two-tailed fox could outsmart Wendy's magic spell and capture her goons. Miles spun his tails as fast as he could and began to hover and fly over the island at great speeds, grabbing a power ring to help him along. He bought an obstacle, eventually putting a stop to her crew of thugs and returning the island to its former peaceful natural state. The young fox, however, fascinated by the magical technology, began to tinker and learn, becoming quite the smart young lad. This is a Game Gear game. It only came out in Japan at first. It's been included on a couple of Sonic collections. It also possibly started development as a Mickey Mouse game, but...
What?
Yeah, all of the characters look like things out of Mickey Mouse.
Okay, let me Google this one real quick. Could you tell me the name?
Tails Sky Patrol.
Like, I've heard good things about this one, but...
It's a all right space shooter. It shows that Tails likes mints.
I can definitely see the Disney styling here, but that's also just a very easy way to animate in this era.
It's very easy, but also Sega was working on the Castle of Illusion series for Disney.
Huh.
So
I'm gonna rank this one as Bizarre Carrot out of 10.
That sounds about right.
Bizarre.
Bizarre carrot. Oh, how is it a bizarre carrot, though? What does that mean?
Look at I'm triple checking. I might have to ask you to reiterate the entire theme to me because my brain is beginning to melt in terms of a plot line. But the more I look at this, there's this particular enemy that happens to be like
So
some
Wendy...
kind of bowed creature flying around in a carrot.
Alright, so Wendy Witchcart made a bunch of magical animal goons, used her magic to make a theme park that turns animals into robots. Tails, outsmarting her, begins to fly and eats the candies to stay up high with his energy, and throws the rings to destroy the robots and hopefully catch Wendy.
Gotcha. So what I'm seeing is this is again, I've heard the mechanics here look very solid, but I'm the boss carrot eater. A bizarre carrot was accurate. I thought I was just misrepresenting a poorly drawn sprite of a rocket or something, but no.
Nope.
It's a carrot.
That's a carrot.
So this is bizarre carrot out of 10.
Gotcha.
Bizarre carrot, good game, decent bizarre carrot in terms of lore out of 10.
So you might think, okay, now we've introduced Tails, of course Sonic 2 is next, right?
No.
Of course not. We have to make Sonic go slow.
Oh god, no.
Welcome to the Labyrinth, Sonic Labyrinth. Of course, at the same time Tails had been trying to take care of Wendy and her evil magic, the petty Dr. Robotnik used the last Chaos Emerald Sonic had missed and created a pair of slow sneakers to replace Sonic's usual shoes. And lo and behold, it worked! Eggman needed to get a good understanding of what made Sonic tick and what gave him his incredible speed. So challenged Sonic, get through the labyrinth zone, Sonic, and find the keys. If you get the emerald, I'll let you go free. Sonic didn't trust a single word from the Mad Doctor's mouth and began to search for the emerald in hopes that he could take off the shoes and get his old duds back on. Dr. Robotnik had a chance to do before Dr. Robotnik had any chance to do any more of his dastardly tricks. Once Sonic had the emerald and escaped the zone, he wished for the emerald to go with the others at far, far away from Eggman. No man like Eggman should ever have all 6 emeralds, he thought. That's it.
Okay, so while Tails is fighting off demonic carrot magic at the circus in the sky,
Yep.
we have Sonic is in his slow shoes in a labyrinth.
Yep.
Why is it... Okay, so having not played the game, and I'm trying not to judge based on gameplay, I know that Sonic in slow just doesn't work as a concept.
Mm-hmm. So, it is a Game Gear puzzle game. You go through an isometric labyrinth of a couple stages, and you collect 3 keys and you get to the door. There's a singular special stage where if you get the keys and go to a different door at the end of one of the stages, you'll get an emerald and you'll be able to get the good ending of the game. Other than that, there's no real difference. You just move around kind of slow. Your spin dash keeps you kind of fast, but it's not great, so
they literally just nerfed your controls to have more game without adding more game.
Well, the thing is, this game didn't come to the Master System, so they didn't... If you've ever played a Game Gear, you know that screen is blurry and really bad.
Gotcha.
The thought here was keep Sonic slow, keep to look at our fancy 3D looking graphics. In the end, it just did not turn out well.
That's fair. You just attempting to design around the limitations of the system was something that Sonic never quite was able to. I think I'm going to gauge this one shoes out of 10, or kicks out of 10, in terms of the rating, because shoes seem to be a rather bizarre, specific plot point. I get the slowness, but goddamn.
Yeah, it's sneakers tell some stories when you look at them. They've walked in your ass. They've walked a long time.
Well, Sonic did take the time to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, and I do respect him for that.
Exactly.
In Dr. Eggman's shoes, specifically. I very much so respect his quest now.
So, Argent, you might be thinking, man, you're a cock tease. When is Sonic 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, still not Sonic 2. Here's Tails' Adventure.
The ride continues. No.
Meanwhile, back with Tails on Cocoa Island, the fox was enjoying a relaxing rest in the forest when suddenly the Imperial Battle Cuckoo Army attacked with their mechanical airships. Until then, the zany bird Bean, the Dynamite, had kept the army at bay with his sheer insanity and incompetence. However, he was thrown out, and their leader, Great Battle Cuckoo the 15th, chose Cocoa Island as their first attacking point in the attempt to conquer the world, due in part to the recent arrival of the Chaos Emeralds. Along with Tails' journey, the young fox develops many destructive devices and even a small robot for finding hidden items. And after finding all 6 Chaos Emeralds and defeating the next in the line for the throne, known as Speedy, the leader ends up fighting under the pretense that if he is to lose, the Cuckoo Army will stand down from their world domination plans. Tails, taking him up on this offer, wins it with the help of his newly learned move, the Spin Dash, and the little robot he developed. However, after their battle, the young fox does some research and notices a few inconsistencies. There's still one more Chaos Emerald hidden in a special stage, and there are some minor time fluctuations occurring on the little planet. A small orbital that appears once a month over Never Lake. Tails, in a rush, hurries over to see what these could be and possibly find a way to hide the Chaos Emeralds back in the special stages. Tails' Adventure is a Metroidvania. He moves kind of slow, but he throws bombs and ring bombs, and he develops stuff. It's cool. It's fun.
Okay. So a recurring theme I'm beginning to become aware of is that the Sonic characters are aware that they're exist in a video game and that there are stages.
Kind of. The special stages are kind of my shorthand for the special stage zone. Because that's what they call it, and they don't ever give it any name. It's just kind of the space in between things. It's what I set up with Flicky being all the way up at the top. So it's just kind of the connective tissue between the worlds. If you've ever seen the Sonic movies, you can kind of notice that the rings take you places. Well, what you go through when you jump through a ring is the special stage, technically. Even if it's a short distance.
Okay, so I'm trying to think about so the special stage exists to be a quantum teleporting bizarro land within Sonic.
Yeah, it keeps all the laws of physics at bay, so if you fuck up any time travel shenanigans, if you fuck up any sort of logical consistencies, if physics are broken, the special stage will take care of that. It'll warp it in there and you don't have to worry about it.
I'm upset because this explains so much about the Sonic universe in retrospect about all of the games I've played and how it was a werewolf and not that one. I guess it's happening. The other thing I'm kind of upset about here is that you have to. So Sonic and Tails bonded over beating up chicken robots.
No, Sonic and Tails have not met yet at all.
But they're both beating up chicken robots on the opposite side of this.
No, Sonic is not on this island.
Okay, so it's just Tails so far.
It's just Tails on that island. Sonic is doing something else at this very moment.
Okay, so we just play as Tails, not Sonic, though.
In that game, yes. Okay,
cool. I feel a little bit better about everything, because I thought we were just switching back and forth between completely disconnected characters for a moment. Which we are, but just over different games.
Yes, and they're happening around the same time as each other, so it's not too bad.
Gotcha.
So if we've seen what Tails is doing on Cocoa Island, Sonic's not far behind in Sonic CD. It seems that the time Tails made it, that by the time Tails made it to the little planet, the evil Dr. Eggman had already been beaten. His plan was to use the Time Stones to rule the planet in the past and turn it into his own personal spaceship to rule all time with. However, Sonic showed up and found the animals hiding from Dr. Eggman's new Metal Sonic. the plants being used to power the evil robots. Plants were being used to power the evil robots this time, and Metal Sonic even kidnapped Sonic's biggest fan, Amy Rose, the Rosy Rascal, who was captured to lure Sonic in more. Rescued by Sonic, she used her tarot cards to predict the future, and she reveals Sonic and him seem destined to meet, but Sonic and Tails seem destined to meet, but honoring a promise she made to Sonic, she stays out of trouble and away from Eggman. So, that's the story of Sonic CD. It was released on the Sega CD. It's been remade twice, and it's available on all systems via Sonic Origins. It's not a bad game. It's pretty good. It's got some great animation by Toei Animation. So, me.
I'm sorry, you happen to be breaking up for half of that, and I've been kind of futzing with the cord here for a moment. Let me test something real quick. 1, 2, test, test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2.
You sound fine. You sound A-okay.
Okay, cool, I can hear you now. Can you say something real quick?
Yeah, I could say stuff.
Alright, cool. Because you kicked back in right about the time you said they had some great animation from Toei.
Oh, so you missed the entirety of Sonic CD.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not going to read the story again because we've already got that, and I don't feel like cutting.
Okay. Looking up real quick myself, and then I
However,
can just make it...
you know what? I'm going to read it out again. I'll do some editing, cutting stuff. I'm already going to be there.
Also, I can look at it. If you don't have to, I'm just going to look it up real quick, and then I can do a quick glance over the Wikipedia, and then we can cut that back in too, so...
Yeah. Well, all you really need to know is that Tails showed up a little late, didn't get to meet Sonic yet, but Sonic stopped Eggman from using the Little Planet, which appears over Never Lake, to become his own personal spaceship and rule over the entire timeline, because there's the new time stones that reside on Little Planet that allow the planet to teleport and warp around. So, yeah. Amy...
So the time stones turn the Little Planet into the Death Star.
The time stones allow the planet to warp around, so it only appears for 1 month over top of a lake. And it's a great sight to behold, but Eggman has chained it to a mountain and begun to roboticize the entire planet. And stole Amy Rose, the Rosy Rascal, away, and after rescuing Amy, she uses her tarot cards to show that Sonic is going to meet Tails soon, and tries to and wants to continue and go along with him, but promises to Sonic that she'll stay out of trouble. So she does. She stays away from Eggman and away from trouble.
I love this because it's like we have the Sonic Death Star, the death Eggman's trying to get a hold of with the Time Stones.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sonic and Tails were foretold being completely logical side plots.
Yeah.
So it's used the Force Luke version of Sonic, and I'm absolutely down with this.
So, of course, Tails showing up a little late to Little Planet. The planet just disappeared. But Eggman is just now getting set up for his next plan. He thinks that maybe if he tries again, tries to kidnap somebody else who can be even remotely close to Sonic, he can possibly force Sonic to get the Chaos Emeralds for him. And with the Chaos Emeralds' help, he could build the Death Egg, right?
Yes.
So that brings us to our first version of Sonic 2 on the Master System. It seems though the Egghead never sleeps, and using his new radar, intends on finding the Chaos Emeralds, seeing as the Time Stones are lost somewhere in the special stages on the Little Planet. But just as the young fox is about to find Sonic, he ends up getting snatched up. Wishing the emeralds to scatter, Eggman threatens our blue hero, "Get the emeralds and bring them to me, you blue rodent," or the little fox boy gets it. Sonic, with the goal of saving Tails, begins to work for Eggman. As promised, Sonic got every emerald, all 6, and made it to Eggman, stopping him in his place after defeating the prototype robot Silver Sonic. However, just as Eggman got all the emeralds, Sonic knocked Eggman's machine to pieces and wished the emeralds back into the special stages. and got Tails out of his clutches of the Mad Doctor, only to learn that he had only to learn what did I write here? Only to learn that the small fox had figured out Robotnik's true plan was to create the Death Egg, an all-powerful Star Destroyer built to threaten the world into forcing him to rule it. While that could never happen, Sonic rushed forward with the plan to get to West Side Island to find the emeralds yet again, and to beat Eggman once and for all.
Okay, so we're just using the words Star Destroyer now. We're not even denying anything about this.
Oh, absolutely not. They didn't...
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We're not even trying anymore. And the best part is that I can imagine it being perfectly rotund and egg-shaped, like everything else in this franchise.
So the Death Egg is actually shaped like a ball.
Beautiful.
It's only ever been shaped. It's only ever been shaped like an egg one time.
Okay, I can respect that.
And that's not. And we're actually going to be seeing that in a little bit. Even in the modern games, though, as far as the modern timeline's concerned, it's never been shaped like an egg ever, which is fucking great. But this version of Sonic 2 is kind of shit. I did not enjoy it. It's hard as hell. And to top it off, Tails dies if you don't get all the emeralds. Eggman literally murders.
Wow. That's brutal.
Yeah. Other than that, the game is noteworthy for coming out one day before Sonic 2.
Really?
Yeah, so technically...
Did they time that effectively? Were the departments just not talking to each other?
It was supposed to come out on Tuesday. It came out on Monday, because it was supposed to come out on Sonic Tuesday, just like Sonic 2. But...
I see.
Somebody said, fuck it, and dropped it early.
But, that doesn't explain why this game would have been released that close to the big thing being Sonic 2.
Well, because both games are called Sonic 2. They were both supposed to come out on the same day.
There'd be two different versions of the same game that you get confused about which you wanted to buy on the market.
Not really, because they're only for their respective systems. One's only on the Game Gear and Master System, and the other one's only on the Sega Genesis. So, one...
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
And they both go through different zones, and one only has Tails being kidnapped, and the other one, you can actually play as Tails.
I'm okay with this, but I'm still just here going, why? But why?
It's the Kingdom Hearts rechain of memories of the Sonic timeline.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be here. It doesn't account for anything. Yeah, it shows Sonic and Tails meeting, but Sonic and Tails could meet in Sonic 2, and it'd be perfectly okay. It's just a worse version of Kingdom Hearts 1, basically. So, just like Rechain of Memories, so this is just a worse version of Sonic 2.
With the Death Star, got it.
Yeah.
Star Destroyer, let's be fair. We turned the big triangle cheese ship wedge into the real one.
Yeah. Well, it gets called the Death Egg in the next one, so don't worry about that, because the next one...
I can't demonetize the video, I can't sing any more of that.
Alright, so... Our next game is Sonic 2. Once at Emerald Hill, the first stop on West Side Island, Tails rapidly caught up, using his twin tails as a propeller to speed him up almost like his own jet engine. Sonic, finding this rather intuitive thinking rather cool, allowed for Tails to tag along as his player too and stop Eggman with him. While journeying through Emerald Hill, slipping past Eggman's scummy chemical plant, passing all the way through the Owl's aquatic ruin, kicking down the Jackpot and Casino Night zone, venturing through the valleys and mountains of Hilltop, even passing through Eggman's mining operation, the Oil Ocean Zone. The two finally made it to Eggman's Metropolis Zone, the place where Eggman had been building his evil contraptions. Tails even found blueprints for the heavily armored original design for Metal Sonic, known as Mecha Sonic. But that couldn't be helped now. Eggman was flying on his wing fortress headed straight for space. Could it be the Death Egg was already out there? Tails flies Sonic's plane to the wing of the fortress, with the only plan being to sneak on board and find a way to stop the Death Egg. After making it to the tip of the fortress, Sonic hops back on the plane, only to back on the plane. It seems the two-tailed genius had attached a jet engine to the plane, which allowed it to be fast enough to catch up to the rocket, giving Sonic one rough ride straight to the heart of the Death Egg. But the ride isn't over yet. It seems Eggman, in a hasty plane, unleashed Mecha Sonic to kill the blue blur once and for all. However, it may have rockets and sharp spines, but none of that speed of metal due to the bulky armor, giving Sonic just enough of a fighting chance to spin dash straight through the robot's core. Rightfully upset and worried about his starship, Robotnik brings out his biggest machine yet, the Death Egg robot. But before the giant monstrous machine could be unleashed, Sonic, using the power of all 7 Chaos Emeralds, turns into Super Sonic and absolutely shatters the outer layer of the robot, spin dashing straight past the legs and even bringing down the central core of the robot. However, as the fight continued to break out, the Death Egg itself. However, as the fight continued to break out, the Death Egg itself was not out of the planet's atmosphere, and it couldn't handle the immense explosions, and began to fall towards Earth. Sonic, jumping out, falls to Earth, just as our blue hero ran out of rings, no less. Standing with the Flickies watching as the large metal creation slams down to the sea, Tails, ever worried about his new best friend, gets the plane ready and flies just past the wreckage to find Sonic falling, catching him before he could be hurt by the impact. And that's the ending of Sonic 2. And wow, I didn't realize I wrote shit so wordily.
Where I'm at on this one is like half of the plot is a weapon to surpass Metal Sonic, on top of our ongoing Star Wars theming.
Well, I mean, a robotic duplicate with even more weapons. If Speed couldn't beat him, of course more weapons gonna beat him. So, but I mean, it's Sonic 2, what can I say? I don't know whether it beats Sonic 1 in your opinion, but...
Lore-wise, no, this is a very good and acquired flavor. This is what I signed up for when I wanted some of the weirdness of Sonic lore. I'd say this is up there, real up there.
Oh, so you're telling me you didn't sign up for Dynamite Ducks?
No, I wasn't aware of Dynamite Ducks. This is Japan, can you simmer it down now. I get it. I understand that these are very, very sexy cartoons, but come on, shh. Stop being horny on Maine.
So our next game is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And this is the one that took me the longest to write.
Oh.
So I can't wait to share this one with you. Of course, that's not the full story. The Death Egg crashed right onto the floating island, which at one time was home to the warrior tribe of Echidnas. Now, only one remains, the Master Emerald's protector, Knuckles. But with the Death Egg's impact, the island now rested in the sea, bringing new landmasses up with its sudden impact. Robotnik, ever crafty, promises the Red Powerhouse that he will leave the island with his large starship, but he needs to take care of the one who brought down the ship, Sonic. Of course, it wasn't my fault, Knuckles. I was merely building a space amusement park for all to enjoy. When that big blue thief and his two-tailed freak of a friend stole the Chaos Emeralds from the special stages and attacked me. They're crazy, Knuckles. Please, help me defeat them, and I'll leave at once. Knuckles, believing the lies, starts to plan with Robotnik to stop Sonic once he arrives. As if to speak of the devil himself, just who flies from off the shore with a hunch that maybe Eggman was threatening more creatures with his evil robots, the pair rush to Angel Island. Sonic, dashing off the plane to scout ahead, turns into Super Sonic. Knuckles, seeing all he needs, prepares for a sneak attack. Using the power of the Master Emeralds, knocks Sonic to his feet. Grabbing the emeralds, Knuckles hides the Chaos Emeralds back in the special stage. This is my home. you menace, and you think you can come here and steal the Master Emerald and bully others? I'll show you. I'll show you. So get lost or I'll knock your lights out again. Sonic, not being able to reason with Knuckles, pushes forward onto the island, looking for anyone to reason with, only to come across Badniks and even Eggman's latest creation of flying fortresses. Of course, the Egghead was in on it, and tricked Knuckles in a gambit to not only get the Death Egg airborne again, but also to steal the Chaos Emeralds and possibly get rid of Sonic once and for all. Sonic, never able to stand for bullies and tricksters, scurried through the Hydra City, or was it Hydrocity? Not even the locals could figure that one out. Blasted from the overly watered level to the Echidna's ancient temples of the Marble Garden, past Eggman's newly built carnival for Knuckles, down the hard time slope of the ice cap, straight to Eggman's launch base zone. Of course, just as the two could get near the rocket, Knuckles was standing near the liftoff point. The pair standing near to knock the pair back, forcing them down. I can't read right now, apparently.
Fair enough. Next, new take?
No, keep going. Knuckles was standing near to knock the pair back to stop them from doing what they had done before on the winged fortress. Now, of course, thanks to the launch base's height, the pair were still able to make it at least to the far engines and crash the Death Egg back down, thanks to the power of the Chaos Emeralds. But just as the pair go back down and try to permanently destroy the metallic star, the emeralds disappear back to their original creation point, the Hidden Palace Zone, a place holding the Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles, just coming out of the secret passage leading to the palace, begins to plan his next attack to protect Eggman from another beatdown. Sonic and Tails learn of a new power brought to the Emeralds. If they can prove themselves worthy of the Master Emerald, it will grant the pair the ability to transform into Hypersonic and Super Tails. Maybe, if they can get the Emeralds back to full power, they can bring down Eggman once and for all. After returning to the Mushroom Hill, they take out the communications and get onto the Death Egg's flying battery, only to be shaken off and left in the Sandopolis, the ruins, showcasing that not only did the Echidnas once live here, so did the owls from West Side Island. Of course, deep in the pyramid, they found an entrance to the Lava Reef Zone, the new launching point of the Death Egg. If they can sneak on before the volcano erupts, they could stop the Death Egg from launching yet again. But after failing yet again, the duo were too slow, and even with the power of Hypersonic, the Death Egg made it airborne. Their only hope now was to get to the Hidden Palace and find some secret entrance to the Death Egg. But as they rush forward to the Master Emeralds, Knuckles challenges Sonic to a duel in the last-ditch effort to stop Sonic from taking the Master Emerald. This was rather pointless, though. Eggman snuck up just as the two's battle concluded and stole the Master Emerald, shocking Knuckles and slipping away to the now sky-high Death Egg. Knuckles, knowing his mistake, helps the two get to the Sky Sanctuary Zone in the last-ditch effort to cling to the Death Egg. Of course, just as Sonic and Tails make it to the top of the Sanctuary, who is there to protect the Death Egg but Mechasonic Mark II, a stronger iteration on the already powerful Mark I.
A weapon surpass Mechasonic.
Yes. But just in the nick of time, who comes a-knockin' but Knuckles? He bashes through not only Mechasonic, but the Egg Robo, a robot built to take care of things on Earth, while the real Robotnik was in space. But it has all come down to this. Sonic reached the core of the Death Egg. But it seems Robotnik was more prepared than the two at first thought. The Death Egg Robot Mark II was bigger, stronger, and most of all, space travel ready. As the duo smashed and crashed through the large-scale robot, the mouth began to open and a laser fired. The two dodged and flipped, but the outer base was crumbling and deteriorating. Tails rushed out of the Death Egg, hoping to get to safety as Sonic used the Super Emeralds for one final attack. Eggman, seeing his demise, tries to flee with the Master Emerald, but the brave Hedgehog follows, collecting ring after ring and shattering asteroids and the station alike. The Hedgehog used the last of the energy and finally blew up the Death Egg robot with the station with the space station just after Robotnik, blinking away yet again, lost the Master Emerald to Sonic, but the Emeralds, seemingly taking too much power, returned to their weaker Chaos forms and retreated back to the special stage. Back on the planet, Sonic returned the Master Emerald to Knuckles, allowing Angel Island to float once more, including the Genesis trilogy. Of course, this isn't quite where it ends. In fact, this is just the midpoint. So let's take a breather and go over what's not going to happen on this fine route through time.
Halfway.
We are officially halfway.
Okay, so from what I gather is there was trying to get onto the Death Egg multiple times in a volcano. Knuckles is here, he ballin', he jammin'. We finally got onto the Death Egg. There was a weapon to surpass Metal Sonic there.
Yep.
And then there was some kind of super speed in an asteroid belt involving Sonic being able to destroy everything around him.
He was blasting
with the
through
power of the Chaos Emeralds, which is somehow more together than the Master Emerald, which makes sense because the power of teamwork.
Yeah, so they basically went straight for the new and improved Death Egg robot, which is bigger and can fly.
Neat.
Yeah. So all of that jazz. What do you rate this one?
Verklempt out of 10.
A what?
The adjective for this emotion is verklempt.
What does that mean?
How do I describe this? I'm gonna have to Google the definition, because it's like some combination of upset, but more in a way that is raw than it is being angry.
So that's fair. This isn't really anything to get mad at.
To be
But
overcome with emotion.
that's fair. In terms of the game itself, Sonic 3 is great. Go play it.
I mean, it sounds awesome, but like, what am I even?
It's just more Sonic 2, but better in every way. Yeah.
More in every way.
More in every way. You want a Metal Sonic? Great. You want twice the amount of levels? Go for it. You want to fight on a rocket ship and then a space station? Go for it. Space, asteroid belts, we got you covered. Fucking crazy natives? Great. We got that too. It's Sonic 2, but even more.
Yes.
So it's time for me to go over
Again.
It's time for me to go over everything that does not exist and or we don't see or won't hear, at least in this video. Feel free to interrupt for any of these. These are all just like little points. We're not going to see Sonic fight Chaos or encounter any more major mysteries with Angel Island or the Echidnas.
Okay.
Our heroes are never going to see Gerald Robotnik and Awaken Shadow.
Okay.
The experiments on Iblis never happened to the future. So the future Silver is from never happens.
Okay.
And since it never happens, Blaze never goes to her own dimension, so that does not exist in the series of events either. So no Blaze's dimension, no Sonic Rush.
Oh.
Dark and Light Gaia are directly tied to the Emerald's power. However, the laser that impacted the Earth to awaken them never gets fired, and thus there is no Werehog. So Sonic Unleashed doesn't happen.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that the vast majority of things I associate with Sonic lore are not Sonic lore.
The vast things that the vast majority of things that are Sonic lore are for modern Sonic, and we are just covering classic.
Okay, so we've got a split timeline.
Yes, we do.
Beautiful. We should definitely do a modern video too, though, because I'm now very confused.
Don't worry, I'm going to do that one. I actually wanted to get Artie in on it because she doesn't know anything about modern Sonic or classic, and I think it'd be great.
Perfect.
So Sonic never fully uses the homing attack or even learns the boost technique. Our heroes don't meet Black Doom, the Black Doom aliens, or come even close to the Wisps. Eggman never conquers the planet. Vanilla and Cream don't seem to exist in any meaningful way.
Okay.
So the two rabbits do not exist. And that's just about everything. That covers just about everything. Big the Cat
That
doesn't...
covers everything, but explains nothing.
Big the Cat doesn't show up going forward. What else? Who else doesn't show up? Any of the good robots really don't show up, like Omega or Gamma. Rouge the Bat never shows up. Maybe she exists, I don't know. Yeah. That's...
I don't know how to handle this concept of everything I know about classic Sonic being utterly wrong, even though I knew nothing to begin with.
Just throw it all in the trash.
Okay, cool, let's go. There's, like, no... I don't know how to handle No Big the Cat. That's, like, an integral part of Sonic to me.
I know, right? He shows up in the new game, too.
He's too important.
He is the most meaningful character to ever exist. Honestly, though, I love Big the Cat, so it does make me a little sad. But our next game is Sonic Chaos.
Okay.
With the Mecha Sonics destroyed and the Death Egg gone, it's been nearly a full year since Eggman attacked, and in that time, he's gone back to the little planet to collect Metal Sonic for repairs and touch-ups for his future plans. But beforehand, Eggman needs to collect the emeralds and begin to search for the Chaos Emeralds on South Island. But after finding just one emerald, our pair of heroes get a notification on Tails' Emerald Tracker. And the pair leap into action to stop Robotnik yet again. Leaping from special stage to special stage, they managed to get 5 of the emeralds, but just as the duo reached Eggman himself, he used the one emerald he had to power his latest machine, the Laser Walker. But because of the duo's quick action, it was no match for them. And just as they rushed away and forced the emeralds back to the special stages, it was clear getting the emeralds was going to be even trickier than in the past. When suddenly the Mad Doctor meets a slippery little thief named Fang, or was it Knack? He's half weasel and half wolf, and he's got a proposition for the evil Doctor.
I love him. I don't know what he is, but I love him.
He's purple, and he's great, and he has a cowboy hat, and he uses a cork gun.
I love him. He is perfect in every way, including the villainy.
So he's a bounty hunter. He's evil. Sonic Chaos is known as Sonic and Tails in Japan. It's fun. It's good. It's probably one of the better Game Gear Sonic games. I also didn't have anywhere to really put it.
That's fair.
And it only made sense for it to happen afterwards. So,
I mean, the fact that any of this can, in fact, make any sense is flabbergasting to me, so...
where would you rank this one?
Cute weasel out of 10.
Cute weasel out of 10.
Everything else is irrelevant.
Gotcha.
I can roll with everything else. Cute weasel out of 10.
Gotcha. Our next game is the game where he actually shows up, Sonic Triple Trouble.
So, as I heard, we were halfway through a Sonic game. Dear Lord, there's still more?
Yeah, dear Lord, there is still more. In fact, we are continuing on the Game Gear with Sonic Triple Trouble.
Okay.
So, Knack the Weasel and Dr. Robotnik devised a plan to get the emeralds and keep them safe in the special stage for Robotnik if Sonic shows up to outsmart him for the emeralds, then using Knack as a wingman, trick Knuckles into believing he's changed man, and then get him to attack Sonic. It'll be an all-out attack, a triple trouble, a triple threat for the Hedgehog and his two-tailed friend. But just as Eggman was ready with his Doomsday device, Metal Sonic was outpaced. Knack Knack weaseled his way out of responsibility and escaped back to the special stage. Knuckles, learning the truth, got back on the duo's side for good. They teamed up to finally defeat Eggman once and for all. The heroes rightfully taking a break back on Sonic's home of Christmas Island.
Okay, so this is finally when Christmas Island comes back in.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad that everybody was able to make up. That was pretty good. This still doesn't explain anything about the weapon to surpass Metal Sonic, but I think I need to be okay with things just not being explained at this point in the plot.
Well, the weapon to surpass the weapon to surpass Metal Sonic was Mecha Sonic Mark II.
But so he went back to resurrect Metal Sonic though, not Mecha Sonic.
No, he got Metal Sonic back for Triple Triple. Got his ass handed to him again.
Okay.
Knack, after being defeated once or twice, said, "Fuck this, I'm out," took his money and ran. Knuckles found out the truth, and then the three of them kicked Eggman's ass.
Respect. But, like, if I was gonna pull one out of the ocean, I don't know why I would pull... Anyway, there was so much that can never be explained about Eggman's nefarious brain.
All you need to know is this is a Game Gear game with not much thought. It's also been remade recently, and it's a really good game. But the most you need to know is Eggman now has Metal Sonic from off of Little Planet, and Knack the Weasel exists.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all we need to know is Knack the Weasel exists.
Yeah. So, where does this one rank comparatively?
This one, I'm gonna rank this one as Team Up out of 10.
Team Up out of 10.
Yeah, no, Knuckles is finally on board with Tails. Everybody seems to be finally together and working together cohesively.
Yeah.
I think that's the important takeaway from the plot. Everything else is kind of irrelevant other than the fact that our peeps know each other.
Yeah. That's pretty fair. So our next game is Sonic Jam. Have you ever played Sonic Jam?
No.
All right.
I think that the jam is not the pine you put on toast.
Not really. But I'm going to go ahead and read the story here that I have written. After Eggman's last large-scale attack, Sonic and Tails relax and chill out while remembering the past. All the while, Knuckles is on his own adventure due to Angel Island's recent landings. A new island has arisen from the ocean, and Robotnik, detecting a new energy source, seems to have taken strong interest in this new Carnival Island.
Okay.
Sonic Jam is a collection of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles for the Sega Saturn. It has a open hub world with a bunch of museum stuff. And since Eggman's nowhere to be seen, I figured it's a perfect time to take Sonic out of the picture for a little while and insert Knuckles' own adventure.
Okay. So, like, this island in the middle of the sea is... Dr. Eggman doesn't attempt to go for it?
Dr. Eggman is going for it.
Gotcha, but we do not see him because we're going through Sonic 1, 2, and 3 kind of over again.
No. So Sonic and Tails are just relaxing back on Christmas Island.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles is heading towards Carnival Island because it's nearby Angel Island, and it came out of the ocean once his island hit the ocean.
Got it. So it is Knuckles taking care of it because he's close by, and Sonic and Tails are being useless but chill.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So our next game is the second longest one that it took me to write.
Let's do it.
Knuckles Chaotix. It was told on Angel Island that there was once 7 powerful rings that once gathered could summon the Master Emerald from wherever it may be hiding. Its power was once used by the Flickies to hop between zones, but that power has been lost to time. Until now. On the Carnival Island, Eggman has created a new condo but with it drew tourists, and those who grew ever curious. Espio the Chameleon, a detective of sorts, came to the island to scope out Eggman and learn of his next nefarious deed. Charmy, a young bee, came to the island to have some fun, seeing the carnival as a great place to enjoy the weekend. Mighty, who had been scouring the planet looking for a new home after his home was destroyed by Robotnik, found the new island welcoming at first. And lastly, Vector the Crocodile had heard rumors of the 7 powerful rings, and hoping it would bring him some grand purpose in life, went to the island in search of the rings. I need to insert an anecdote because the manual for Knuckles Chaotix is really weird, and the English manual doesn't give you a whole lot to work on, and the Japanese manual is not translated the best, and it says that Vector the Crocodile is going there to be closer to God.
I respect that.
Like,
I'm gonna choose it like it's a mistranslation, like the Blues Brothers, where he's on a mission from God.
yeah, so my
Well,
thought...
it's actually about saving an orphanage and has absolutely nothing to do, but sorry, continue.
So my thought here was that it brings him some sort of purpose to go to the island and find the rings. All our young heroes, however, were captured just as Knuckles had appeared and placed into stasis in Eggman's new combi catcher. He even placed spy robots, Bomb and Heavy, to capture those who wished to free these poor souls. But just as Eggman and Metal Sonic had captured Espio, Knuckles showed up also looking for the rings, and still very angry about being tricked for a second time, saw Eggman and began to attack him. But in his rage, freed Espio, and due to the Metal Sonic's tether rings, the two couldn't escape, forcing Knuckles to use the combi catcher and setting him on the path to collecting the power rings. After seeing all 5 attractions and collecting the power rings, Metal Sonic's plan flung into action. Powering up by using the combi catcher, Metal Sonic evolved into a new Metal Destroyer. Of course, after using Mighty and Knuckles' strength, Charmy's flight, Espio's stealth, and Vector's sheer distracting voice, our team of heroes was able to stop Metal Sonic's new form once and for all.
So we're continuing the theme of a weapon to surpass Metal Sonic, and yet, despite the plots getting somehow simpler, my brain is melting more and more and more.
Fun fact, this giant Metal Sonic that appears at the end of the game, which is an upgraded Metal Sonic, doesn't have a name, and the closest name we have for it is Metal Sonic Kai. And I want you to go ahead and look it up, because it kind of makes you question your sanity just a bit.
Is this a Five Nights villain?
I know, right? This is like
This is a Five Nights character.
I can see it, yeah.
This is raw horror Sonic.
This game released on the Sega 32X. Originally, it had Sonic and Tails, but the mechanics for the combi ring, which allowed for basically rubber banding and slingshotting, just didn't fit very well. So they just threw Knuckles in it because everybody was asking for a Knuckles game.
Okay.
It's also the only time where every single one of these characters is together. The only one missing is Ray the Flying Squirrel. Amy Rose shows up in the sound select. Sonic and Tails show up near the ending on the plane, and everybody else there I mentioned shows up as playable.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool. I'm still trying to get my eyes to look away from the part of darkness that is Metal Sonic Kai over here, but whew.
So your thoughts overall on Knuckles Chaotix?
Really solid that all of our characters are together again. From a lore standpoint, it is Five Nights at Freddy's is the weapon to surpass Metal Sonic. We have confirmed this. that is what this plot line has told me.
Let's go with that.
Five Nights is the weapon to surpass Metal Sonic.
So you might be thinking, dear God, are we finally done? Nope.
No.
Welcome to Sonic Blast. Not 3D Blast, Sonic Blast. Just as
Oh.
Sonic and Tails got back from their break, they found Knuckles still fuming that Eggman would try to steal the Master Emerald yet again. Sonic, however,
Really? No, he'd never do that. How about
Sonic,
it,
however,
Knuckles?
was coming to get Knuckles, and it seemed that Eggman was beginning a new plan on the new floating on a new floating platform just off the coast of South Island. And Metal Sonic was truly behind the plan on Carnival Island. Of course, Eggman's plan was just a bit half-baked and fully scrambled by the two, but Eggman's... Did I really type that twice? I typed that. I typed that twice.
I mean, the plots are fairly repetitive. I can absolutely understand why.
Yeah, but it was half-baked and fully scrambled. So, Tails seemed to have noticed the entire base was merely a scanning device looking for for chaos energy signatures. Sonic, rushing out to check on his friends, the Flickies, comes to find that Eggman found exactly what he had been looking for. Interdimensional beings that would let him finally enter the special stage and collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Okay, so we've returned all the way to the Flickies.
Yep.
Cool. This is like when a game is trying to reference its deep lore, but its deep lore is like that one arcade game that nobody played and nobody cared.
Yep.
That's not like this. That just is this. Dang it.
Yep. No, Sonic Blast was a Game Gear game. It featured Knuckles and Sonic. It was entirely pre-rendered, and it played like a little bit of shit. And it's not great. It's not good. Sonic has a double jump. I got nothing. I don't want to play that game again.
It's just not.
Oh, it was also released on the Master System in Brazil.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
The Master System was a dead platform. In fact, the Sega Saturn was out everywhere else. And even in Brazil.
But why?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Huh. Anyway. Deep concern. That's like this also explains why there's weird collector's editions of stuff. It's like it was released in this bizarre format for this one system.
Oh yeah, it's super expensive, and I don't want to buy either the Game Gear game or any of it. It's just not a good game to play. So, of course,
Fair.
now we have Sonic 3D Blast, and before I jump into this, in Europe it's called Sonic 3D Flickies Island, but everywhere else it's called Sonic 3D Blast, so...
I mean, Flicky's Island is at least accurate, but, huh.
I also have all 3 versions of this game. It was released on the Sega Saturn as an updated port and had a special animated thing before that holiday season called Sonic Christmas Blast. It came out on the Genesis and the PC.
Gotcha.
Knuckles, with his new power rings, showed Tails how to directly get to the special stage. But Sonic needed to save the Flickies, so while Sonic saved the Flickies and destroyed the Badniks, the other 2 would look around for the emeralds to keep them safe so the Flickies could return to the special stages, far away from Eggman. But just as Sonic had saved all his friends, Robotnik revealed his major weapon. While still incomplete, this new version of the Death Egg robot should be more than enough to take care of. Yeah, no, Sonic beat it easily, and to prevent the emeralds from falling into the wrong hands, gave them out to their new friends. And one was even poached from the special stages by Knack and his band of hooligans.
Yeah. Well, there has to be one. We need more plot.
That's it.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna rate this one Flicky's Return out of 10.
It's still flicky. It's just different flicky.
Feeling a little flicky about it.
Just a little flickier.
A little flicky. It's gotta be like a swear.
Hey, Argent. What the flicky do you want?
Ooh, that just sounds wrong. Ooh, there's something like... It's gotta be like... I feel bad calling someone that, you know? Like, I'm singling them out for something that I shouldn't be. Ooh.
Call me a flicky. Come on.
Flicky.
Do
Yeah,
it.
call me a flicky one more time.
Call me a flicky one more time. God damn it.
I'm not open flicky. It's not
It's like getting called bitchy, but you're actually like flicking things at people.
Is it like a flippant version of bitchy? Flicky?
It's when you play paper football
Ooh,
constantly.
getting a little flicky over there.
Yeah, you're getting a little flicky. You know that one kid in class who's always like, "You want to play football?" And I'm like, "What?"
And then suddenly getting hit in the face with the paper triangle. I remember.
Yeah.
I was kind of flattered because I thought I was going to get faced with much more, and we were able to play a game instead. Surprisingly good day.
Yeah, my cousins were those people for me.
Well,
So our next game is gonna band together, right? So everything. Eggman's last plan gave him just enough time to create the Death Egg Mark III, and even upgrade Metal Sonic for space travel. Of course, Tails is working on a rocket for the next time Eggman had built a Death Egg, but it's not complete yet, and it's a one-seater, so Sonic and his friends held a tournament to see who is worthy to go up in space and stop Robotnik.
why would you ever build a one-seater when you know you have this many people that you're going to want to use as backup because you have frequent problems with Space Eggman?
So they hold the tournament to see who's worthy to go up in space and stop Robotnik once and for all. But Eggman ends up using his cloning ray, and one of the emeralds, ends up being copied with it. Sonic ends up winning all 7 emeralds, and the fake 8th, taking the fight to Robotnik and stopping the Eggwalker Mark II. But as Sonic leaves, he forgets the fake emerald, and Robotnik gets a dastardly idea.
It's not like a dastardly idea. That's just like
That's
what
like
you expect to happen. This is the exact opposite of. There were no ideas in any of these decisions.
oh, absolutely not. So Sonic the Fighters is an arcade game. It's a fighter. It introduced Bean, Bin and Pin's kid, who is a woodpecker and not a duck.
Okay, good.
It introduced his friend Bark the Polar Bear, a large polar bear who is friendly on the inside and very scary on the outside, and together with Knack the Weasel, they make up Team Hooligan. A trio of hooligans, and they're just there for chaos. Regardless of that, that's all there is to really say about Sonic the Fighters, but I do want to circle back to being the Dynamite. So we had 2 ducks, a human girl, and they made a woodpecker.
Yes.
I can't say anymore. That's an innuendo of itself.
Hey man, it's just recessive. Being a woodpecker, that's just some recessive genes.
I guess, but I mean, with everything else that's wrong with Dynamite Ducks and how that's the start of all this bullshit.
I mean, we all know it's otherwise, but then you can also just accept it. No, don't worry about it. It's just recessive.
It's just recessive.
It's just recessive. Don't worry about it.
But, like, that is the biggest in-joke of all time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's also the difference between faith and knowledge.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people, like, my mom knows that I'm her kid. My dad just has faith.
That's true. I believe it is stated which one is the actual father of Bean, but I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't bother to look it up for this story.
All the good things to look up later.
Yeah. So, things that editing me will have to deal with. So our next, what would you rate that, by the way?
That one,
Yeah. That nothing of a plot because it's a fighting game?
I would rate that one build bigger spaceships out of 10. You know you're gonna be having Space Eggman issues, and you want to bring all of your resources. Why are you building one rocket? One.
Guess what? If I remember correctly, that's the last time we traveled to space.
It's like half of the plot of classic Sonic up to this point appears to be space.
Yeah, pretty much. Been stop Eggman. How do we do it? Go to space. Get the emerald.
Space.
Get the emerald. Go to space.
Find the emerald in space, bring it back down to Earth.
Make a single stupid mistake. Now Eggman's back at it again. Shit.
Every time.
It's kind of like the Doctor. I have a Mega Man version of this too that I want to do one day, but it's going to be way simpler, and it's just going to be robot win, man fail. I've actually had that one written for like half a year now. So our next game though is Sonic R. You familiar at all with this game?
No, I am not.
It's got some jammin' music and it's a racing game on foot. But everybody, for some reason, feels like a Formula 1 racing car. So it's kind of awkward.
Formula 1 racing in Sonic.
But on foot. Only 2 characters are in cars.
Okay, with the whole speed thing, I can see the hypothesis of why this might work.
The truth
But
is
this
they
is
had
like
a...
one-
The truth is they had a Virtua Racing 2 engine and just decided to use it.
I mean, okay, fair. But like, on another hand, at some point in time during development, somebody should have been like, wait, there's no way feet can handle like wheels. Surely, someone, anyone, and I know the answer to my questions, the answer's no. But, surely they could have.
They could have, but they had, I think, 3 months to reskin it into a Sonic game.
Oh.
So, just as Sonic returned to Earth, the Emeralds had scattered, as they have done so many times before. Hoping Eggman had finally learned his lesson, he ends up challenging Sonic to a game of his own. A race, yes. While Eggman was racing around his new invention, the Tails doll would be looking for emerald energy signatures, using the fake emerald as a power source. Tails enters the race to see if Eggman is up to his sneaky plans. Knuckles enters to prove he is, in fact, stronger and faster than Sonic, and Amy even enters the race to see Sonic again after not seeing him in so long. Sonic, being the fastest thing alive, ends up catching onto Eggman's plans and finding Mecha Knuckles, meant to take out Knuckles, and even the Tails doll, which failed to find any real Chaos Emeralds. Sonic returns the emeralds to the special stages, and Eggman loses his own tournament.
Okay, nice. So why didn't Eggman decide to make a racing tournament against the fastest thing alive?
Because he had an idea to use the fake emerald to hunt down things.
Like, didn't he also have access to the slow shoes?
They were destroyed afterwards, and Sonic wouldn't put them on, so let's be real.
Okay, fair. I mean, I would try to trick him, but I mean, I'm not sure how frequently Sonic takes off his shoes.
I don't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't want to know.
For a racing game, it's not bad.
I mean, that's incredible. But like, especially considering how feet don't handle like wheel. And 3 months of reskin, that's if it's not bad, that's incredible.
It's not bad. All the stages are very loose on what direction you have to go to actually finish them, so you can kind of just end up exploring these massive stages for a while.
Oh.
It's kind of fun.
Okay, I can respect it.
I enjoyed the playthrough on the channel, but I fumbled around a shit ton. Of course, our next game is a racing game.
Okay.
Curious.
More concerned.
Sonic Drift. Best 2 of 3. You cheated. We all must be in cars. It says here in the rules. Robotnik ends up shouting, losing sight of his own plan in the meantime. Sonic, feeling cocky, ends up taking him up on his offer and beats Eggman once again, showing his friends he's not only the fastest animal on foot, but also the fastest driver on the track. Eggman still loses, and even forgot to look for the emeralds this time. Sonic ends up taking a short break and heading back to the Green Hill Zone to relax for a time.
Miss Dr. Eggman, losing sight of his own plan, insists on cars.
I mean, he is competitive, so I figured If
I mean,
if he loses a foot race, he would scribble in the rules. You have to be in a car.
oh no, I believe I would rate this one as the most plausible Sonic plot out of 10.
So the next game that happens, as Sonic is rushing back to Green Hills to finally, spend some time, he gets sucked into a time-eating vortex.
Okay. That actually makes sense considering the amount of random shenanigans we've been building out of time emeralds.
So an alternate timeline, a future version of Eggman, technically now an alternate dimension Eggman, because this fucks with the timeline that hard, ends up teaming up with his past self to capture and destroy all of time, rewriting history as his own. They end up stopping him, modern and classic Sonic, and when they put things back together, just so the two Eggman can never meet again, the special stages put it back together in such a way so that there are now two timelines.
Okay, so this is the moment where we have our classic and our modern Sonic split.
Yes.
And they explain. Okay, I was expecting there to never be an explanation, but this is better. I respect that. And they went back in time and attempted to rewrite the timeline in various different ways, but the special stages warp properties help maintain that.
Yep.
Okay, I'm beginning to catch on now. I don't know if that's a good sign or not. I felt like my brain was melting for half of the time there, but now we're almost getting to a point where this makes sense again, and I'm getting concerned.
So since things were pieced back together, Sonic never actually ran over to Green Hill, or Eggman catches up, whatever you want to assume. And Eggman is furious. No. Last time didn't happen. I'll beat you this time. Robotnik enters his own Metal Sonic in the tournament, and Knack, getting antsy as ever, joins this. Eggman still forgot to look for the emeralds. Near the end of the final race, however, it seems Eggman's radar picked up something. It wasn't a Chaos Emerald, but was giving off some weird Genesis wave energy. Maybe, if he can collect it, he can finally stop Sonic once and for all. And that was Sonic Drift 2.
So we time travel. We're gonna redo the tournament again, and I'm gonna lose again.
Yep. Also, this game. So Sonic Drift 1 did not come out in the States, but Sonic Drift 2 did. How would you?
Was it called Sonic Drift 2 or just Sonic Drift?
It was called Sonic Drift 2 in the States. They didn't release the first one. That's how similar these two games are. They just the actual reason behind marketing it like that, they forgot they didn't release Sonic Drift 1.
Okay, that's hilarious.
It was scheduled, planned, never printed, didn't even make it out to market.
That's just the entire supply chain farted. It's hilarious.
Yep.
Absolutely hilarious. Just nobody bothered to make it go gold.
Yep.
Okay, that's funny.
So now we have a game you might have played, Sonic Mania.
Maybe.
This came out in 2017. It was made by Christian Whitehead Taxman and his team. They were contracted by Sega to make a new Sonic game for an anniversary, and they did a fabulous job. It was so good. It was originally just digital only, and then it got a physical release, and even an updated version with more story and more stuff and more characters. So Sonic, soon catching on to Eggman's sudden disappearance, heads to Angel Island with Tails, but shows up just a bit too late. Eggman dispatched his new elite team of egg robos known as the Hard-Boiled Heavies, and they just excavated the Phantom Ruby, a mystical gem connecting dimensions. It was created by the Special Zone's magic to stop any future timeline mishaps, but now that it was in Eggman's hands, the Ruby transformed the Hard-Boiled Heavies and set Sonic back to the Green Hill Zone. Now Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles team up to not only find the emeralds, but stop Robotnik's new plan and the Hard-Boiled Heavies. Not to spoil the many surprises, the Ruby's energies begin to get mixed up as other timelines, as the other timeline created by the Time Eater began using the Phantom Ruby, sending Sonic back to his now very different alternate future.
Okay, so we jumbled the timelines with the ruby,
We
which is totally not a Chaos Emerald because it's a time ruby.
so think about it this way: we have to split the timeline to fix this. There's no way in hell we can keep the Time Eater from eating everything unless we split the timelines and make it so the two Eggmans never met. Cool. But there's got to be some byproduct behind that, from that effect. So, of course, every universe is going to get a Phantom Ruby.
That makes sense. Ish. Well, I mean, as much sense as you can from this.
And even if there's not one directly, they can create one fakely, which brings us to our next game. But I'll let you rate Sonic Mania, at least.
Sonic Mania, I'm going to rate as new gemstones out of 10. Are we going to get sapphires next?
I wish. Instead, we get one of my least favorite modern Sonic games, Sonic Forces. So, Sonic just hopped to the other timeline, where Eggman created a fake Phantom Ruby, found a weakling, shoved the Phantom Ruby on him, had him start a gigantic war with a bunch of fake, weird clones of past villains. But between classic Sonic, modern Sonic, and your own custom character, they stop everybody. Put the kill Infinite, which is canon that they killed them. The Sonic Encyclopedia says so.
Well, that got dark quick.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't ever show it on screen. I think the last thing we see is he just kind of gets kicked into oblivion. Classic Sonic, basically after the Phantom Ruby's shenanigans and forces gets finished up, gets re-eaten by his Phantom Ruby and sent back to Angel Island Zone. And that is Sonic Forces.
Sonic Forces is unexpected violence out of 10 with Ruby teleportation for no reason.
Yep.
What made it so bad in your opinion?
Everything. The writing is essentially... So, this game focuses heavily on story, right? And instead of taking anything seriously, they decided to write it like Sonic Colors, so it's all very jokey and laughy and jovial. They wrote in stuff like, Sonic's been held up there for weeks, he's probably all mentally buzzed out and been tortured. They say Sonic's been tortured up there for weeks, and then the next thing we see is Sonic as fine as rain, laughing it up on the space station in a jail cell. And then Tails cowers away from Chaos Zero when he beat Chaos 3 and, I think Chaos 5 in Sonic Adventure 1.
Nobody's behaving as themselves, and these are not terribly broad character tropes to be able to remember. These are not deep character studies we're dealing with.
Let's Flanderize everybody, essentially.
Yeah, no.
Amy isn't written properly. She's not written like Amy Rose. She's written like Sally Acorn from the Adventures of series. Or SatAM, whichever one it is. It was all mishmash all at once, and nobody cared to double check or read what the fuck they had written. And Sonic Mania literally came out, I think, a couple months prior, so the drop in gameplay quality was very apparent as well. Like, Sonic doesn't have an idle animation in this game.
Oof. Just idle stance.
Yeah. He
idle sprite.
Doesn't even blink. It's ridiculous.
Ooh, that's creepy.
And that comes to our final game, Sonic Mania Plus.
Okay.
It was DLC for Sonic Mania. It was $5. And it starts us up with Sonic returning with the Phantom Ruby. Sonic, returning from the alternate dimension with the help of the Phantom Ruby, notices that the Ruby was still controlled by the hard-boiled heavies. By encountering Ray and Mighty stuck in a combi catcher, the outcome is clearly going to be different. As Sonic and company ends up racing to Eggman, finally destroying the Phantom Ruby once and for all.
Okay, so they split themselves off from that timeline by destroying said Phantom Ruby.
Yep.
Okay.
And we haven't seen Classic at all in Frontiers, so as far as I am concerned, this is the end of the Classic Sonic timeline for now.
Which would make sense, because if you broke the root last rubies that were kind of, keeping this timeline separate, you wouldn't have to deal with it nearly as much.
Well, even if they did continue it, they'd have to, it'd just be more Eggman getting emeralds and starting fights. But there's nothing else really connecting anything. There's not much more connective tissue to anything else. I guess my only antidote was the Mania team was then asked to make a sequel to Mania Plus, and they declined because they wanted Sega to learn from them instead of just relying on them.
It's a, hey, we don't want to just be your studio, don't make us your Pixar.
Yeah.
Learn your own stuff. Which, I mean, they kind of have been.
Just a bit.
Not a lot, but they're beginning to turn a corner, in my opinion. I've been seeing some real promise in terms of, design principles and basic bug testing. Anyway,
so that is...
As for this game, I'm going to give it cohesion out of 10. This is where everything finishes and kind of wraps up, and okay, we've broken the final connection between that timeline and this one.
So, Argent, I need your thoughts.
Okay.
How fucked is this timeline from... how fucked is this timeline compared to other video game timelines?
We aren't quite at a Kingdom Hearts, but that's on another level. I would say we're definitely above a Zelda, we're definitely above a Mario.
Are we
every Nintendo property, usually.
Are we at Metal Gear yet?
Oh. I would say that Sonic is maybe not a weapon to surpass Metal Gear, but a weapon to challenge Metal Gear.
Oh my. Yeah. So...
Is that the title of the video, Sonic Lore?
Yeah.
Weapon to surpass Metal Sonic?
I might just make that the title. I haven't quite decided
Beautiful.
yet. I have another thought. Which one of these games, which one of these little stories is the least messed up, and which one of these is the most messed up, in your opinion?
Well, I'd have to say the most messed up is our duck game from the beginning that I've already scrubbed from my memory and Wikipedia search history.
Dynamite Ducks.
Dynamite Ducks, yeah. That was on another level. And in terms of least fucked up, I would have to say, honestly, or God, I'm so bad with Sonic game names, but the one where we went back in time for the third time to redo the race, because that's absolutely something Dr. Eggman would do, no questions asked, 100% in character. He would, in fact, break the entire timeline to retry the race against Sonic one more time, while forgetting the entire premise of the fact of why are you challenging Sonic to a race? That makes perfect sense, just in terms of something Eggman would do to me.
Gotcha.
That is the most comprehensible Sonic plot. I was like, nope, that tracks perfectly, 100%.
So Argent, if I asked if you could only have... Now that you have way too much Sonic knowledge in your head, if you could scrub this from your memory forever, would you?
If you had asked me that at the midpoint of the video, I would have said yes, because my brain was beginning to melt out of my ears. But upon exposure, I think I've crossed over the hump, and I can now comprehend the Lovecraftian depths of horror to this. And I see now, and I understand, and it has given me powers beyond my greatest comprehension. Please help.
Yes. So, I don't believe that I will be doing a modern timeline until after we get done with Frontiers.
Makes sense to me. Keep things topical.
So, bear with that. But as far as my time here with you goes, I think I've covered just about everything I wanted to cover.
Good, because I'm pretty sure that, like, even though I have begun to comprehend the horror, I'm not sure how much more I can take, and I'll still be capable of cognizant speech that isn't, like, about whether or not Sonic has gloves.
I do have one last question. Do you have any questions about this mess?
Yes, but I want no answers.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that is probably the appropriate answer to Sonic lore is there are then this many questions, but so many answers that will never happen and maybe shouldn't.
It gets messy fast. That's all you need to know. So, yeah. Thanks for listening to this lecture. I have been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty, and
I have been Argent the Dinosaur.
And if you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe and donate and all that jazz. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.